Karim, how are you?
All good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thanks. So I mean, it's not many of the people in the Zenith group will know who you are or what you've been doing with yourself for the past few years. But like please explain to everyone like what your background is, because I think it's pretty interesting. And I think that you've got a lot to give to people, especially in terms of mindset and mental health, and the way that you should be thinking about progressing as a player. So, Karim, please take it away.
Yeah. So I'm first of all, thank you for having me. Yeah. And a little bit about my background. So I'm a coach since 9 years. I didn't start as a mindset coach. I started in a completely different niche. I was a dating and relationship coach. Yeah. So what I did is for the first 4 years, I helped guys to find a girlfriend. If they had one, I helped them to improve their relationship with the girlfriend. And then I had a mentor, and this mentor said to me something very interesting, because he said, if I'm aware that all my clients have the same problem, and of course, I was curious. I'm like, how can they have the same problem, right? They have different countries where they're coming from. They have different backgrounds. Like, how is that possible? And he said, yeah, they think they have a dating or relationship problem at the surface level, but deep down, it's all based on their mindset. And that was the moment for me where I realized, like, I think he is right. Let's take a deeper look into this area. And this was basically the beginning of my mindset journey, when I worked with coaches myself, like mindset coaches or psychologists, for example. I went to like seminars, I read books, and got the knowledge from different sources, because I'm a big fan of getting different opinions on certain topics. And based on different opinions, and of course my opinion as well, I create like a mixture where I think, okay, that's the best of different worlds, of different different opinions. Yeah. And that's basically then the opinion that I take for myself as the best choice. Yeah. And this is basically what I did. Yeah. Worked with different coaches, and I started to teach my clients back in the day, the dating and relationship clients, that more of that mindset topic, until a point where I was teaching mostly mindset content and less of what they really came to me for, right? And then, but the thing was, my clients got even more results than before, right? So it's not that I give them no results, or I could not deliver results. I think I could deliver even more results, because some of them, they found a girlfriend, but some of them started a business. Some of them started to go to the gym on a regular basis, right? Some of them switched their job to something else, what they enjoyed more. So I think they got even better results. And for me, there was a point where I said, okay, I want to switch my niche. I want to start coaching entrepreneurs, professionals, in terms of mindset, and not just like the one area, which is like their love life, but also like other areas. And this is when I started to work with, like people who are like traders, doctors, pilots. I mean, you name it. You name it. I had so many different jobs that I worked with, or people in different like job situations that I worked with. So I helped them in terms of mindset. And then, of course, I also do public speaking. And then on one of my speeches, a very famous guy approached me. I don't want to say his name here. If people follow me, they know who it is. A guy approached me, said, hey, man, your knowledge is amazing. And he's a very famous poker player. Yeah, and through him, I got into the poker scene. And he also has a big poker brand. It's very well known in the poker industry. And he and I, we're very good friends now. He teaches me how to play. And through him, I made the transition from coaching business people to coaching poker players.
Okay, right. So, what are some of the things that you think that poker players specifically would need in terms of mindset, in terms of in what ways can you benefit just so say your average poker player over, say, like your previous types of clients, with in terms of the relationships and the entrepreneurial side. I'm thinking like, why should someone go to you specifically for help as a poker player rather than someone else?
Yeah. So first of all, I think in general, the mindset topic in poker for some people is very, very underrated. Yeah. I had people, they come to me, they are like, you know, sometimes like overweight, you know, and they're like, I never did any sport in my life, you know, what is it that you offer, you know, and you know, it's not just with you know, like the health side of mindset, but also there are so many different aspects that you can work on. Yeah. And it not just benefits you in terms of poker and making more money, it also benefits you in like your life in general. So what I specifically do, that's my USP, is I work with my clients only like long-term, because I think if you really understand the mind and how the mind works, everything is connected. Yeah. So I don't think it's really a good idea to work with someone for just 1 hour or 2 hours, because usually, like, how is it possible to get results after 1 or 2 hours when everything in the mind is so connected? And some of the things that people come to me with are very deeply rooted. Yeah. So what I do is I focus on 3 different categories. The first one is the classical mindset stuff that you probably heard of many times. This is, for example, meditation, this is visualization, goal setting, dealing with tilt, dealing with the ups and downs of poker, dealing with fear, dealing with self-doubt, like the classical mindset stuff. Yeah? The second area, that's usually what I start with, because this makes my clients the most money. Yeah? That's the performance topic, which basically means I teach my clients how to use emotional triggers to bring themselves into a high-performing state whenever they want. Yeah? It sounds very fancy, I think, in the beginning, but the thing is that you can use this high performance trigger not just for poker. You can also use this. Let's say you want to start a business as a poker player and you have an important business meeting. You can use this emotional trigger to also be highly focused, right? Super calm, super confident, like a little bit of a magic trick, if you will. To bring yourself into that state. And then, of course, a lot of poker players that I know, they also struggle with sleep, especially when you play tournaments. So it's basically like a door. You open the door, you have access to the state, and then you close the door and you sleep like a baby. And that's usually what I start with. And then we have the last area, the third area, which I call optimization. That's the life around poker. This is everything regarding nutrition, exercise, but also dealing with relationships. Because all these 3 areas, they are connected. You cannot just say like, oh, help me with tilt. Because one example that I can share here with you is a guy came to me and he said, I have a problem with tilt. And then we figured out he struggled with tilt because he was too attached to the money. And then we figured out he was too attached to the money because his girlfriend asking him for his results all the time. Then we figured out that because he was nervous to tell his girlfriend about the money, he could not sleep. Because he could not sleep, he didn't like really exercise a lot, right? And had no balance in life. So you see, right? You have to find the start of this. And that's in 1 hour, that's, I think, impossible to figure all these things out.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this poker coaching, basically any kind of coaching, psychotherapy, sort of this related stuff, like you can't get the results that you want in just one session, 1 hour, whatever, right? It's one of those things that you build up over time. I was wondering what specific sort of pitfalls you see, like poker players come to you with, like on a sort of a consistent basis. Like what problems do you see over and over again?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, but usually it's most of the time very, very similar things that I work on with my clients. So the first one obviously is tilt. But I would say there are so many different forms of tilt that sometimes people think like, oh, I have a problem with this, but the core root is also like tilt. Could be, of course, entitlement, could be that you feel a little bit, treated unfair, you've like victim mentality, like you can like lead a lot of things back to tilt. That's one thing. The second thing that I see is structure and discipline, because poker gives you the great opportunity to structure your life as you want. You can play whenever you want, where you want, basically at any day or night, you have games running, and you have this freedom to like wake up when you want, like grind when you want, everything. But the problem is that this freedom is sometimes for a lot of people hard to handle, because you still need to have some structure in your day. Yeah, I had people, they're like, I wake up and then if I want to play, I play. And if I don't want to play, I stop. And then, and then if I want to train, I train. Yeah. But the problem is you can never have a clear goal that you work towards. And then at some point it's getting boring, and you don't have this fire, this passion, because you're like, oh, like, it's just like, how should I say, like, I'm waking up and I'm doing what I want, and there's no real reason or real structure behind what I'm doing. Yeah. Just basically all the same, all the time the same, right? So the structure and the discipline aspect. And then we have other things like, for example, motivation issues. We have fear issues. We have some people came to me, they're very successful already. Yeah, they said, I have all this money, but I'm still feeling not happy. What should I do? Yeah. And then we have other topics like just proving different things. Some of my clients have a very strong foundation already, and they just need a little bit of fine tuning, like, like, as I said, the structure or clear goals, or like nutrition plans or sleep improvements or stuff like that. Yeah. So performance issues could also be something.
It seems like a lot of what you're discussing can be applied to areas well outside of poker, and given your previous background with relationships and the entrepreneurs, like, I'm sure that a lot of what you discuss with poker players is more about setting up setting up sort of a lifestyle in general that is sort of increases the chance of overall success, not necessarily just with poker, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure that a lot of people that might just play poker sort of part time or as a hobby, they would benefit from the things that you teach. Is that correct?
Yeah, I also have a few clients who play poker on the side. They're semi-professional or as a hobby, and they want to like either make the change to play full time, yeah, or option number two, they just want to like increase their like hourly or productiveness when they play poker. Yeah. So that's also something that I help clients with, yeah, because having a strong mindset will, as you said correctly, not just help you in terms of poker, but also help you in terms of your life in general. And I currently work with a client of mine. He has a full business running. He has a marketing agency. Yeah, he's the CEO. He has, I think, like 10 employees or so, but he also plays poker. Yeah, and of course, like his main business is like the marketing agency. He has to like deal with like his employees and stuff. But when he is free, he loves to play poker. And he came to me because he knows that I also have a business background. And what we did, so far we like 3 weeks working together so far. What we did was, of course, we helped him with the performance improvements and stuff like that. But also like with clear goal setting. And then he asked me, in the last session, he asked me something very interesting. He said to me, now that we talk about productivity, I think it would be better to like not force my employees to work at specific hours. Yeah. Maybe I should give them like more time, yeah, to work, and they can start when they want and stop when they want. Yeah. So they have more freedom, because what really matters is the result at the end, and not that they sit there from 9 to 5. Yeah. If someone wants to start at 12, yeah, or 1 p.m., that's fine. They just have to work then longer and deliver the result. Right. And like, you see, like the changes that I talk with him about, he also can implement this to his employees, for example. Yeah. So,
right. Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah. So also with people who have a normal job, right? That like having clear goal set can also help you with in your normal job, or a structure, or improving your productivity. Yeah. So there are so many parallels in like life and poker. It's really interesting to see also changes outside of the poker world. Okay.
Let's have a look at some of the questions that were asked to you in the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So this first one is related to the fear of failure. So what is your opinion about this whole concept of the fear of failure, and And how is that related to people's knowledge of the game, and how would you tackle it yourself, and or how would you recommend one of your clients to tackle sort of this fear of failure?
So first of all, I think there's a certain percentage of fear of failure in all of us, especially if you're very ambitious, right? Of course, you want something or you work towards something, and of course, if you fail, it doesn't feel good, right? So the thing is, it always depends on the level of that fear. Yeah, is it really like dominating you, or is it something where you say like, oh, I have it a little bit, but I can handle it? Yeah. And what I would recommend, this person, of course, without context, is always hard to say. Yeah. But I think that we should start to change our relationship to fear. Yeah. Because fear can either basically slow us down. Yeah. And let us basically freeze and dominates us. Or we change our relationship with fear and say, okay, the fear will always be there. We all have a little bit of fear of failure and fear of different other things. Yeah, I try to live with that, and I use this as a motivation to drive me forward. Yeah, so if we make that mental shift of saying okay, the fear of failure is there, I have to live with that, but I use it as fuel to drive me forward, maybe already then it feels much, much lighter. And then the second thing that I would recommend is changing the way we view things a little bit in a different area, which is focusing on things we can control. Because oftentimes people who are afraid of failure, they focus too much on things they cannot control. So that means if you really ask yourself, what is it that I can control? And you focus purely on that, it's only your responsibility it will be your responsibility to be successful or not. Because that's what you can control, obviously. So if you know, if I do A, B, C, and I do this on a regular basis, I cannot fail. You always have some variables that are uncontrollable, but you have to do everything in your power that you can control. And if other unexpected things happen, that's basically it. It's all a risk if you want to become successful. And you have to deal with that risk. But at the end of the day, it should give you a peace of mind if you change your relationship to fear, plus focus on the things you can control. I think this can be a huge mindset shift for some people.
Right, of course. And sort of related to fear is anxiety and sort of nervous energy. What is your opinion on that, and how would you sort of tackle that with your clients?
Of course, depends on anxiety in which area. You know that I was a dating coach before. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine my clients, when I got out with them on the street, they're like, oh, I'm afraid to talk to people. I'm afraid to talk to this beautiful girl there. So they dealt with a lot of anxiety before, and I think it's a very, very similar strategy that we have to use here, right? First of all, change your relationship to fear, because it will always be that approaching a stranger is always kind of uncomfortable. And then second of all is focus on the things you can control, right? The reaction of a stranger, you cannot control that. And what I did, just for people who are single and interested in that, what I did always is people always came to me and they found excuses why to not talk to someone. And I said, all right, now change the way you think and tell me why you should talk to this person. Instead of focusing on the negative, why not focusing on the positive? And then all of a sudden you have a different energy within you, and all of a sudden everything feels much, much lighter. So instead of focusing on why it should fail, or why it could fail, focus on why it should succeed. That's a much more productive mindset than focusing on the negative aspect.
And sort of related to this sort of success and failure and focusing on failures is dealing with variance, specifically negative variance. I'm sure a lot of people listening to this would have gone through, a downswing here and there, lost 10, 15, 20, 50 buy-ins, whatever, over whatever period of time. like how would you sort of approach dealing with negative variance?
Mm-hmm. So,
or how would you coach your clients through the negative variance?
Yeah. So what I coach my clients is, first of all, what the worst thing you can do is that you let your results impact your state of happiness. Yeah. I heard this so many times that if people have an upswing, yeah, when basically like it feels like they cannot lose a hand. Yeah. I heard this. So one of my clients said, "I'm feeling like a poker god at the moment." Yeah, but it's just positive variance. Yeah, but then the same guy who will tell me like I feel like a poker god, if he has negative variance, he will like be super unmotivated. And he's like, "Oh, I'm feeling so bad," like and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think nothing is really good. Like if you feel super down when you have when you deal with negative variance, it's not good. But it's also not good if you feel like the poker god and the poker champion when you have an upswing. So the ideal strategy is to find that middle ground. And when you like have an upswing, bring yourself down, yeah, and calm yourself down. Because I heard this many times when people make a lot of money, they're like, I don't have to study anymore. I don't have to like put in the volume. I win anyways, man, right? Why should I put in the effort? Yeah. And then of course, this can fire back very quickly. Yeah. On the other hand, some people, they have a downswing. They're like, oh, I'm so unmotivated anymore. Like, I don't know, like self-doubt is coming in. Like, is this game for me and stuff like that? Yeah. So that's also not good. So what you want to do is you want to find different anchors. I call this, yeah, anchors that can bring you down to like a neutral level when you're basically feeling like a poker god. And also the anchor that lifts you up when you're like feeling bad. So my tip is, first of all, find these anchors, yeah, in terms of like how do you function the best in terms of other areas of life, like sport, meditation, sleep. You know what I mean, right? Have a certain like safety net, as I call it, yeah. So you always stick to that structure, yeah. And then, of course, the relationship to variance, yeah, for a lot of people is also something that I want to talk about, because the game of poker only works because of variance. Without variance, we would be a chess player. You would play chess and you probably would make not even 10% of what you're making at the moment. Yeah? Because the variance tricks like weaker players into thinking they can beat you. Yeah? If a weak player comes and he plays against you in a live setting and he's like, oh, I beat this Thomas guy, like, oh, I'm so much, I'm the best player in the world, right? He will come back for sure. Yeah, but you're already waiting for him. You're like, oh, let's get my money back plus some interest on that money. Yeah. And like so the thing is, the game of poker only works because of that variance. So having that negative variance could also be seen as something positive, because only this way it tricks the weak players into thinking they can beat you.
Yeah, of course. And like, especially for people that are playing online or in very big fields with strangers, it might not feel that is true, but that's exactly what's going on. Like if you're a strong player and you're a winning player over a long period of time, then the negative variance is just part of the game, and it's what attracts the beginners, right? It attracts the degens or the rich businessmen, blah blah blah, that just want to play and lose some money, have some fun. But you're sitting there on the side with your your mind solver, and you're just gonna walk over them on average. But just because you're walking over on average doesn't mean you can't lose a hand or two to them. Sort of related to negative variance, I think, is tilt. And tilt is one of these things that affects basically everyone, right? And tilt can be related to variance, but I'm sure with what you said previously, it can relate to a bunch of other things. Can you talk a bit about tilt and sort of recognizing when you're tilting?
Yeah. So the first step to cure everything that you're dealing with is always awareness. If you, for example, are addicted to alcohol and you go to a rehab, the first thing that like the doctors will like teach you is awareness. Yeah. Because you can only solve something that you're aware of, obviously. If you're not aware of something, you cannot solve it. Yeah, we'll work on it. So the main question is like, which are the times when you tilt? This could be a bad beat. This could be, I don't know, for example, if you have make a mistake, you know, or when a person, you know, like wins a hand against you, right? Or when you like lose a flip, or it could sometimes be very simple things. But this is usually the first step to this awareness, because in these spots, you can pay a lot of attention of what's going on inside me. Yeah. And which emotion is coming up, because tilt is not tilt, you know, for everyone the same, which means for some people, it feels like anger will come up. For some people, like anxiety will come up. Yeah. They feel scared. For other people, it might feel like, I don't know, like jealousy is coming up or whatever. Yeah. So what we want to understand is like, when does this happen? Which emotion is coming up? Yeah. And ideally, right, there's a little bit bonus, not necessary, but would help me as a mindset coach. Where do you feel it in your body? Yeah. I have some people, they feel the tilt in the back. Yeah. Some people, they feel it in their brain. Some people feel it in their chest. Some people feel it in their belly. Yeah. That's for me, like if we like go in detail to how to like really solve this forever. Yeah. But the first two are the most important ones. Yeah. And based on that, you can pay a lot of attention in these spots specifically on how you behave and what you think. And then you definitely write it down, and you always try to inject logical statements, yeah, to bring you back. Because what we know is, for example, I like to coach my clients as athletes, right? So one of the first thing I teach them is the athlete mindset, yeah, thinking and behaving like an athlete. So what I teach them is like, there are many cases in like sports history where one guy like provocates, or whatever this is called, you know, sorry for my English, the other person, yeah, makes him angry, yeah, makes him tilt, provokes the other person, and he gets emotional. So in that fight, you really see that person like, oh, I want to like kill this man, you know, and then the fight starts, and then he's so emotional, he cannot even like throw a real punch, because he's only like he's an emotional brain, and he's like, I want to like punch and like kill this person, and the other person has like an easy chance to win, because he's like calm and relaxed and logical and knows exactly what to do, and the other person comes in swinging without guard and then it gets knocked out. Yeah. And that's basically what I teach my clients is like, if you get emotional, yeah, you make it so easy for the other person to win against you. So you want to understand when are you tilt and what comes up and what do you think, and so on and so forth. So it's a lot of like awareness training, a lot of writing things down, a lot of paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm sure most people who haven't really thought about have thought deeply about the state of their own mind and sort of awareness of their own emotions, like they would benefit a lot from this, even in areas completely unrelated to playing poker.
Yeah, because usually what we see on the poker table is a mirror of your life. Yeah, so poker is a mirror of your life, usually what we say. So that means yesterday I had a call with a client of mine, and it was the very first call we had, and he said, yeah, I'm dealing with self-doubt a lot. Yeah, I'm not confident, I don't have self-esteem. And I asked him, interesting, do you also see this in your life in general? And he's like, yeah, now that you say it, I have the same problems in my real life. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So what we do is we try to solve it, and then he probably will see effects in his like life outside of the poker world as well.
Right. Yeah, that's quite profound. Like some of the stuff that you're learning that's related to poker will apply to the rest of your life. I have another question here from someone. It's related to sort of the feeling of being stuck at the level that you're at, and how you would sort of get out of that feeling, or what you could do to basically get unstuck. Because so some people who are beginning might put a few hours or a few weeks into playing poker, and then they hit the tables, and then they don't get the results that they were hoping for, and they feel like they're just stuck in the spot where they are. How would you approach this with some of your clients?
Yeah, so there are only two options in my opinion. The first option is the easy and comfortable option. The other one is the uncomfortable and long option. First, the uncomfortable and long option is like digging deep and trying to find the mistake or the real problem in that, right? This could take some weeks, some months, for some people, some years to figure that out. That's the hard way. The easy way is to look for a coach, right? A person like you, for example, if someone says like, oh, like I'm always losing free bet pots most of the time, right? You take a look, in 5 minutes, you say like, okay, this is the mistake. So having someone from outside giving you a little bit of feedback, sometimes letting you see the blind spot that you have. And then you realize like, that's the problem. And now that's basically solved for me. Yeah. And then you can work on that. So with a lot of people who are stuck, or like I see these people come to me to say, I have a plateau or something. Yeah. They tried a few things already, but it's sometimes they don't see this because it's a blind spot. Yeah. And that's why I think having a coach, having a mentor on your side can be priceless. Yeah. Because it saves you so much time and so much energy. And that's also, I also have like multiple mentors working with me, because I know as soon as I don't work with them, I will have blind spots very, very fast.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like even some of the best players in the world would get coaching from someone, like say not just in poker, but like basically everything, right? Like the best tennis players, best chess players, like Magnus Carlsen, world chess champion. He gets coached by Garry Kasparov, right? The ex-world chess champion, right? So it's like no matter what level you're at, you can definitely benefit from coaching, especially if you feel like you're stuck on a plateau, or you're stuck in a rut, or you're not sure where to go. And it might not necessarily be coaching from another poker player. It could be sort of coaching from someone like yourself, Karim, in terms of sort of general mindset stuff, which could be the key to unlocking that sort of door that you're stuck behind.
Yeah, 100%.
I've got one more question here. I think this is a bit of a deep one. So this question is related to sort of poker being unhelpful to society, and whether or not it's better for people to move to something either more meaningful, or how would you sort of justify poker as an endeavor that you would spend your life on, or maybe just a few years on? Like how because poker itself, it is a zero-sum game. Like you're playing a card game. I mean, just the same way that tennis players play a racket game, and chess players play a board game. Like poker players are playing a card game here, and so in essence, it's not adding anything much to society. How do you sort of go about sort of tackling this idea?
Mm-hmm. I think now that you said it, like I definitely have to like record a YouTube video on that, because it's such a big topic. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I want to tell a small story here right from the beginning, because this was the moment when I realized like it's the thing with the society, right? And like giving back to society. I'm in Vienna, and in Vienna it's like a paradise for poker players because they don't have to pay taxes on the poker winnings. Yeah. So a lot of poker players live here. And of course, I know some of them. And I know a very, very good cash game player, right? I don't say his name, but he's a very, very good cash game player from Germany. And he made so much money. I think he's like mid-20s and 20s. He made so much money, he settled for life. Yeah. But then he realized at some point, he's like, hey, I have that money, I have the freedom. Like, I don't have to play. Like, I think he coaches per hour and he charges 500 euros per hour or something like that. Yeah. So it's like high level coaching. And he said, like, no matter what I do, I will be settled for life, but I don't feel really fulfilled and I want to give something back for society. So what he did, he started to go to university and studies medicine now to become a doctor. Yeah. And he doesn't want to become a doctor because of the money. He wants to become a doctor because he wants to give something back to society, because he said that poker is such an egoistic game and you don't provide something for society. So now imagine like how hard it is to become a doctor, like many years of like learning and practice and stuff like that. Yeah. And he wants to do this just to give something back for society, because that's how he imagining like giving the most value back. And that's something that really made me think. And that's also when I started to realize, like, yes, poker is something where you don't give so much back to society. But at the same time, this could open so many doors, because I'm very, very confident that if he would not have so much money, he would not become a doctor. And if he would not become a doctor, he would not save so many lives.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from personal experience, medical school is a lot easier when you have buttloads of cash. Okay, so your thesis for this is, you know, win a bunch of money in a few years, and then, you know, spend that money sort of enabling you to do what you really want to do in terms of helping people and giving back to society. That's kind of what you're saying. You can spend a few years of your life getting really good at poker and just destroying people and winning all that money, and then using that money to propel yourself into the next sort of phase of your life.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think if you like have this high level of poker, if you like have this level of like mind freedom, right? You know, mental freedom and like financial freedom, you can give so much more back to society than you working like in McDonald's, for example. Yeah. That's my personal opinion. And that's why like I love working with poker players. And that's why I also enjoy that so much, the journey of like, yeah, I'm doing this firstly for me, and then realizing like I have to give something back, but now I have all these resources and I can give like 10x, 100x back of what I usually could.
Yeah, that's a nice thesis. And I think sort of leaving the rest of the audience sort of there with that in mind. You know, even though poker doesn't really produce anything for society, like you as an individual having a bunch of money, and you know the mindset to becoming a good poker player and the skill set to becoming a good poker player, those two together, plus, you know, whatever money you win, is just going to like propel you into, you know, whatever future you want. And a lot of that could be, you know, starting a business, as I'm sure some of your clients have, and then, you know, going from there. Karim, is there anything else that you want to discuss, or any points that you think that I might have not asked you, or any questions that you think people would benefit from knowing the answer to?
Yeah, so I think that's one thing that I always have in mind, that a lot of people, they really underestimate the power of like their mental health, right? Mental health and how much the mindset impacts your poker results. Yeah. So I think not just people from Zenith, because I also will upload this on my YouTube channel. Yeah. And everyone who never worked with a mindset coach, because I have many people, they come to me, they're like, I never worked with a mindset coach. What exactly are the benefits? Yeah. So definitely do a little bit of research on that mindset topic, and just for a few days, like be a little bit aware of like the thoughts that you have, of the challenges that you face, right? Because a lot of times just changing a few patterns that you have and a few habits can lead you to like basically a shortcut of becoming much more successful way faster. Yeah. And I think what people need to realize, and that's something that really comes from the bottom of my heart, is like the strategy edge in poker is getting smaller and smaller. There's so much content out there, right? I saw some of your content that is amazing, yeah, and it's accessible, kind of cheap for what you could like make with that knowledge. What I wanted to say is like if that's why I said like cheap, because like if they get the knowledge from you, right, they can get like 10x, 100x back their return, right? That's what I mean, right? With like that cheap, you know, like or let's say like inexpensive
is
inexpensive. Let's call it inexpensive, right? Not cheap, inexpensive. Yeah. That inexpensive knowledge that they can get, right, from you, but also from many other people. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is really something that people need to realize, that the strategy edge is getting smaller and smaller. And I think long term, what can make you successful is the mindset. Yeah, that's really why I love this topic so much and what I wanted to say here.
Great, thanks so much for joining me today, Karim. Where can people find you, and like what's the easiest way to get to know more about what you do, and if someone has questions to you, where can they find you so they can ask those questions?
Yeah, so the easiest way to reach me is probably on Instagram. I always answer all my DMs. Yeah, so it's basically my first name Karim and my last name Chelli. With you probably write it down anyways in the title, my name. Yeah, mm-hmm. So it's basically first, last name, and then mentoring. Yeah, all together. Or I also have a website with my first name, last name.com. So I think you find a lot of information there. And yeah, that's how you get access to me, more knowledge about me. And yeah, I'm always there to answer questions.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on today. And for everyone who's listening at home, if you have any questions for me about this podcast, or if you are too lazy to get your ass out of Discord and hop on Instagram to message Karim, I'm sure you can send a message to him through Discord as well, because he is in the Zenith Poker Discord group. So thanks so much for this. It's been a very interesting and enlightening conversation, and I personally got a lot out of it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me,
Great.
Thomas.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.